Hello, everyone. Michael Ware with the Iowa Firearms Coalition. We're bringing you another in the long list of candidate interviews here, and we had a special one here today. We've got Jim Carlin with us, and I think many of you know him. For those of you that don't, you're going to real quick. For those of you listening, we'll be very audible. For you, those of you watching, you'll be able to see what's going on. But Jim Carlin wanted to address us a little bit about the Second Amendment and also the things that we need to know about him as he makes his Senate bid. So why don't you take it away, Jim? Walk us through it.
Yeah, well, thanks a lot for having me, Michael. I really appreciate the opportunity. I am a strong believer in the Second Amendment. I believe that the Second Amendment is a safeguard for all of our constitutional rights. I think it's a deterrent. I think it's a boundary of self-preservation we should all have. I think it's a natural right and a constitutional right. I think it's a God-ordained right. And I am somebody who understands the value of it as it relates to the government and as it relates to individual protection of your family. It's not limited to being a sportsman, as some people try to depict it. It's not part of being in a militia, as some people try to depict it. I think it's an issue of your individual sovereignty. It basically says, you don't own me. I'm not the property of the government. I'm a free individual with constitutional rights, and certainly the rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness that God intended for us all. So it basically says that your liberty is real. If things get real, how am I going to say that? Things get very real.
Yeah.
When you can protect yourself with a gun.
Oh, yeah.
And that's when things get real. And that's why I believe as strongly in it as I do. I'm a U.S. Army veteran. I have an interesting collection of guns, some might say, but not some big collection, but I am a gun enthusiast.
You know, it's I was taping a person for our weekly Warrior Wednesday show, our podcast, late last night, and he said something to me, Jim. You may resonate with this. It's probably something you've thought about. Somehow I missed it, but he said, and he had been in the Army for a number of years. I think that he had spent right at 20 or 21 years in. And retired out as a colonel. And he told me, he started his own training business. He's very proud of this. He's done some fantastic work. He went and he told me, he said, he says, I justify my love for the Second Amendment and the energy that I put into the private training sector by saying this. He's like, the taxpayers invested in me with this training. And he said, now it's time for me to show them their investment back, something along those lines.
Right.
And Jim Carlin, who's running for Senate to represent the state of Iowa and Washington, D.C., I had never thought about it like that. In all my time running in Second Amendment circles, I'd never heard that said before. But I thought it was an interesting concept. And you could probably shed some light on what it feels to think about that and how that feels in action.
Sure. Well, full disclosure, I didn't serve in a combat theater, but I used to run some of the weapons ranges and the 50s, the grease guns, the 45s, the 60s. And, our liberty was fought for through guns. There's no other way to put it. And
it's a tool.
When you're in the military, it is a tool. It's certainly been the instrument of our country's liberty, and it started with muskets, and it's been used as a very effective liberator of humanity around the world in World War I, World War II, I understand the value of a gun. I understand what it means. I understand the deterrent effect of a gun, and when people know that, when a robber knows that there's a potential that there might be a gun on the other side of that door, I think the likelihood of being robbed gets greatly diminished. People also understand a gun as a boundary that says I am going to stand up for myself, and those it defines you as a free individual more than any other singular thing. And that probably is, probably my frame, I guess you would say, on
Sure.
why
Okay.
the necessity of the Second Amendment. And as a state legislator, I was able to work on the constitutional carry bill on the floor. And, we talked about making the Second Amendment part of Iowa's constitution
Mhm.
by introducing strict, making it part of the Constitution, but also with the understanding that the interpretation of that would be subject to strict scrutiny
Yeah.
under the law, and as it should be, right?
Yes.
So where I am right now, as a U.S. Senate candidate, I think, if you don't have constitutional carry like we do in Iowa, but you do have concealed carry, I don't know why we cannot have, and I believe should have, reciprocity across the United States. There's no good reason why somebody who has a concealed carry can't walk into a neighboring state and have that same right, that same I don't want to use the word privilege, but the same right to carry a concealed weapon if they have that permit in another state. And I think that's something that should be done. I don't know what your thoughts on that are, but that's something I believe in, and that's something I would advocate for as a U.S. Senator.
Well, I'm glad to hear you state it the way that you did, because there are grave differences between rights and privileges. Driving is a privilege, no matter what people may think. Now, your right to travel is different. Your right to roam is a little different, but the right to drive a car with an issued license is a privilege, and it's one that can be granted and be taken away. Now, if you're talking about a genuine right, a civil right, like the Second Amendment is, well, that can't be taken from you, and it's really a bad idea when state by state by state make the decision, say, well, we're going to grant it here, or we're going to grant it with restrictions here, or it's all yours here, or oh, by the way, you can't have it here. And then you look at the United States, rather than one big country with no lines, now it's a hodgepodge across that
Right.
map of different colors
It
and
is.
different restrictions. And Jim, it's a bad idea.
It's a terrible idea.
But we know where you're at on the Second Amendment. For those of you that
It's
don't,
treated
Jim's worked with IFC.
that way.
James worked with IFC across the board for a number of years. We have got great confidence there. Is there anything else that you need to? I mean, the floor is yours. If there's anything else that you want to let people know about you as a candidate, now's the time. Let us know.
Sure. Well, I think the primary thing I want you to know is I'm going to stand up for your Second Amendment rights. We've all in the last 10 years where, there have been some mass shootings involving ARs as some type of underlying justification to do away with Second Amendment rights or the right to own an AR. But I own 3 ARs. I own an AR-10. I would want your listeners to know that I will stand with them, and there is no way down in the defense of their right to keep and bear arms, to defend their families, and God forbid it should ever arise, but also as a deterrent to government tyranny. In some we're not there, but that's why it's there. People need to understand that the founders knew the necessity of it as a boundary to tyranny, and that's why my stand on it is what it is. I'm not going to give an inch on the Second Amendment, and I want people to know that.
Well, thank you for that. So just so everybody, the people watching this are able to see it, but those of you listening, Carlin for U.S. Senate, that's Carlin, just like you thought it was spelled, Carlin for USSenate.com. You can go there, read about Jim's stance. You can read about his past. You can read about his proposed future. You can engage, donate, become part of the movement. And we're really tickled that he was willing to come on and visit with us. And we want you guys to listen. I mean, Jim, I don't know how many times I've heard from people, and I know that you know it. They're unhappy with their choices when it comes time to go cast a vote in November sometimes. And I'm telling
Right,
them, okay,
right,
did you get involved in the
sure.
primaries? Did you help shape this election
Yeah,
early on
right,
when you had the ability? Too few of them say yes.
sure.
So we want people to engage and be part of this.
Yeah. No, they need to. And just lastly, I'm really glad you raised that point because uh, I'm going to do my homework. There's not going to be any red flag law votes on my watch. That's not going to happen. And I will stand with them. And all too often, these guys, a lot of candidates represent themselves as being pro Second Amendment. And certainly in Iowa, we've seen some people yield and make some bad decisions on the issue and support red flag laws, which I would not. So thank you for bringing that up.
Appreciate it. If there's anything else, now's the time. Or give us the last word here, and we'll let you go.
No, hey, I just want to say I appreciate what you do. Staying informed on what's going on in the State House and at the U.S. Capitol is very important to the preservation of our freedom. And I can't think of anything more singularly important than the preservation of our Second Amendment rights. So thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, everybody. That was Carlin for USSenate.com. Jim Carlin, thank you for your support. Thank you for your collaboration and work in the past. And we look forward to see how things go for you. Appreciate it.
Very good. Thanks, Michael.